Let's take a look at how the two sides will take the field. The hosts have 3 changes. Captain Clinton Schifosky is out. William Zillman is on debut in 18 at the back. Adam Mogg is out. David Milne is his replacement. And Tom Leroy Lars has been replaced by Andrew Lomu on the bench. Jason Croker is the new captain. Matthew Elliott is the Canberra Raiders coach. The visiting Knights are 1 through 17 as named on Tuesday. Their only change from the side that beat Parramatta in round 1 is Todd Lowry is in for Clint Newton. They have a less than enviable record here, and the coach is Michael Hagan. And our referee is Jason Robinson in just his 39th first grade game. We're underway. Canberra won the toss and will run left to right towards Black Mountain here at Canberra Stadium for the opening 40 minutes.
Dominant!
2 opening round winners. The Raiders 27-14 victors over the Manly Seagulls last Saturday night, and the Knights 25 points to 6 winners over Parramatta. Short ball from Simon Woolford to Troy Thompson, who was outstanding in that victory over Manly last week. This is Willie Raston, just his second game in the top grade. 26 metres out from their own line. A decoy line was used by Thompson as Woolford picks up Alan Tongue, locking the scrum again for the Raiders. Near side, Jason Smith. And a high kick into plenty of open space. Carney is back there, but it is Milton Thaiday who fields the ball, and an enthusiastic and dedicated Canberra chasing line.
Yeah, it was a good opening set by the Raiders there. They actually popped the second phase ball up, which is a little unusual for them early on. They like to play safety first coming out of their territory. The Knights, they will tend to chance their arm a little bit. Andrew Johns like to promote the football, get it wider a little bit earlier on, but it's going to be a tremendous contest, this 2 different styles of football.
Most certainly, as Johns finds a second man runner in the form of Regan Tanner, the lock forward for the Newcastle Knights, who has got to within 6 metres of the halfway line. Big Josh Perry goes through the advantage line and over it. That is good metres from the young front rower. Baderis to Johns again on the near side. A banana kick looking for Kirk Gidley infield. It is taken on the full by William Zillman. On debut here in front of his home crowd today, and a very exciting young prospect.
He is. Last week he played Premier League against Manly. He scored 2 tries. One of them was a game breaker. He's a speed machine, loves to chip and chase for himself. He's very unpredictable and adds an interesting element at the back for the Raiders.
Inside ball from Lincoln Withers to Jason Croker, who takes over the captaincy duties with Clinton Schifosky out. It's not new to Croker. This his 295th first grade game. The most capped Raider of all time, Jason Croker, and about to enter the 300 club in a couple of weeks. That ball knocked back by Milton Thaiday. That was the initial ruling. Jason Robinson has said it was the second knock on that he has ruled. A great break for the Raiders.
It certainly was. There was no real pressure there on Milton Thaiday. He had plenty of time. He probably had too much time to try and get initially, and yeah, it's a tough call because he was running backwards, but then again, the referee was in a pretty good position to rule on it.
Locks down. Allen, head in. Let's get in, Jace.
3 minutes in, Smith feeds the scrum. Tongue picks it up at the back of the scrum onto Withers, an inside ball. Crabbing across field, trying to link up is Phil Graham. There was no one there. Woolford overruns the football. An awkward ball back to Smith. Somehow the Raiders have managed to keep the footy in hand. That was horrible from the home side. The 11ers Ben Jones made his first grade debut last week. Tackled 3 already. Raston, the nephew of former Kiwi international Johnny Lomax. Same stature too as Woolford goes across field. Picks up the number 3 again. Phil Graham, good offload, and that is try time to the Canberra Raiders. They lead 4 points to 0 in just the 4th minute.
Yeah, it was great work in the end, the second phase play there. The Raiders the Newcastle Knights, I should say, came up off their line and didn't really lock up the football. As a result, they got the second phase ball happening. Great wide ball here now. Graham goes in, gets his arms free, offloads the football, and it was there. Was it William Zillman?
It is. How is his first grade, according to William Zillman?
On debut
after 4 minutes. No wonder he's got a smile on the dial.
Yeah, he hit the ball at pace on that occasion, but the Raiders there able to kick their arms or kick the ball alive, and the Knights sign that they will have to try and lock up this football, because the Raiders don't do anything flash in their own territory, but down near the opposition's line they are deadly.
Lincoln Withers, 101 career games, and this is first shot at goal. He has sprayed it wide from just 10 metres off centre. That could be a real worry for Matthew Elliott and the Raiders today. No specialist goal kicker.
Well, Lincoln Withers hasn't kicked much at all in his career. Apparently he was a bit scratchy at training yesterday. And once again, here is the try. Graham does well. He uses momentum to get his arms free, and Zillman's spot on with the support play on that occasion. Tremendous boost there for the Raiders early on. They scored early last week against Manly and went on with the job.
Not a noted ball player, Phil Graham, and he did exceptionally well there, almost Johnny Cartwright style, getting the ball out the back with the big right paw, and William Zillman on debut did very well in collecting the 4 points. This is Ben Jones. Canberra asked to work it out of their own territory. Thompson gets the second man ball, a short offload there to Alan Tongue. Doesn't break the advantage line, but bends it somewhat, and good metres that time round from the lock. Withers dummies to Croker, takes the ball himself, is tackled just short of the 40-metre line. This is Graham again across field. Awkward ball, and it has been dropped in the hands of Johns, who gets it out the back to Anthony Quinn. An opportunity here for the Knights to square the ledger, so to speak. 18 metres out. Reynoldson is the man asked to take the settler. He is tackled 10 metres out centre field. It is just tackle number 2. Johns near side. Gidley far side. That's the way they go. The inside runner is Steve Simpson. The second rower will be on the right-hand side all afternoon. Good service from Badderas to John. Short ball to Reynoldson. He is denied by the barest of margins. Johns to dummy half. Sharp ball to Carmont. He is over. It is 4-all here in the national capital.
Yeah, great work there by Jason Smith to deny the Knights a try on the previous play. But the Knights there, we can see how dangerous they are when they get the ball wide. Through Andrew Johns, as we can see here, they put the pressure on. Johns picks up the football and immediately tries to promote the football. They get it out wide there. And Anthony Quinn's tackled. Then from the ensure, a couple of rucks later, Jason Smith saves the try on that previous play, but on that occasion, the Raiders just short on that blind side, jammed up to try and cut down the thread around the ruck, but out wide they were short on numbers, and in the end it was a pretty simple try there for Georgie Carmont.
In the pre-game warm-up, was kicking and practicing from almost an identical spot and had no problems whatsoever in slotting it between. How does he fare in a game situation? It's coming back. That is beautiful from Andrew Johns. Newcastle hit the lead. The Knights 6, the Raiders 4. And he was instrumental in several aspects of the lead up to the try, including that last pass. And when he and Badderas are on, like it appears they are today, it is so fluent and brilliant to watch.
Well, the Raiders really need to play the football down this end of the field. They've got to keep the Knights down this end. Every time the Knights get up near your own line, then they are really super dangerous, because they're not going to be able to shut down the threat that Andrew Johns can create out wide. And I think that's where the Knights have got a distinct advantage.
An extremely warm afternoon here in Canberra. Today also the Black Opal Stakes at Thoroughbred Park probably denied the Raiders a couple of thousand in the stands, but pretty healthy crowd, to be honest, here. And a good kick from the Knights.
And that's a 40-22, I think, from Andrew Johns. It is too.
He has got it, Andrew Johns. They will take the scrum and possession of the footy, and he has done the 40-20 easily.
Smart play. It was only the third ruck. He saw there was no one back. There's no real breeze here, so he didn't have any breeze assistance, but there was no breeze against him, and he realised that, well, it's there, I might as well take it.
Don't bring it forward, Knights. Where you ask it. Thanks. Stay onside. Get it in. Out.
Johns to Gidley. Kurt to Matt. Palms off one. That was Withers. Still not tackled, Matthew Gidley. Is finally. Again, they operate the short side. This time it's Brian Carney. Alan Tongue very aggressive in coming into the centre. Phil Graham and Lincoln Withers also in the tackle. A drop ball there, and a simple drop ball that time from Josh Perry. In fact, it was Craig Smith, pardon me. You can see the look of pain on the face. He knows it's a great opportunity gone.
Yeah, it was a pretty ordinary ball that he received there from Regan Tanner. But we've seen the Knights the last couple of times they've got possession. They've gone wide early. They feel they've got a definite advantage out wide, and Canberra look vulnerable every time they do go wide.
An awkward ball from the back of the scrum court. Lincoln Withers unaware. This is Jason Smith, a dummy half. Finding Willie Raston, asking the big man to do some of the work, getting it out from their own area. Second man ball, Troy Thompson. We said how effective he was last week against the Eagles. 169 metres from 22 runs. It was the most metres by any forward in the opening round. And that is an awful ball that time from David Howe over the head of Adrian Purtell. And the Knights get another chance.
And that's very un-Canberra like that, to take risks down your own end of the field. They didn't do that again last week against Manly. They ground their way upfield and then opened the game up. On this occasion, the ball wipes out our camera. But it was a very, very ordinary piece of play, very ordinary selection pass there from David Howe.
Out.
Gidley. Kurt it is, and tackled effectively. Down low was Zillman over the top Croker. Here is Craig Smith, the former Kiwi international. Man that served the Dragons very well for a number of years. Vidaris runs himself the short side, spotted a gap. Well read by Alan Tongue, who was assisted in the tackle by Lincoln Withers. Gidley now to Johns, 3 wide of the ruck. Reynoldson onto Carmon, looking for a double early in the contest. Back to Reynoldson, the ball goes. The Canberra defence holding strong for the moment. Tackle number 4. John steering the ship. That should not be a surprise. On to Tanner, looking to wrap around with Gidley. He does just that. It is opened up for Brian Carney. Has he got the try?
Mate, it's going to be tackle 5. Just check corner touching the goal for me.
Phil Graham has come from nowhere and absolutely smashed the Lions winger. Has he denied the Knights a try?
Yeah, I don't think this will be a try. I think it was fantastic work by Phil Graham. He showed enormous speed to get across there, put his body on the line, and there's no way. He put it down on the wrong line, unfortunately. That was the sideline, not the try line. So that won't be a try, and it just gives you an idea of just how desperate the Raiders are on their own goal line. Now, last week against Manly, we saw how efficient they were on their line. On this occasion, for me, that's not a try. On the line is out.
And by definition, that's a high tackle. Got Carney on the side of the face. He is going to be denied this time. No try. 20-metre restart. Is that some blood coming from the nose of Brian Carney? Difficult to tell.
Still down in the in goal.
Is that not a high shot, Junior?
The ball's still down there.
I think he slipped up on that occasion. I mean, in the context of the way Carney was leaning, going in for the try, I got no complaints with that passing through to the wicketkeeper. But what I'd like to highlight is the Raiders' goal line defence. I mean, it was outstanding last week, and the Knights are really going to have to stretch themselves to get over each and every time they score. They scored an early try, as we saw out wide through Georgie Carmont, but the Raiders' goal line defence is outstanding.
Newcastle are really pushing Jason Robinson here. They are standing a good half a metre in front of the referee every single ruck, and Robinson is allowing it to continue. And see Jason Robinson on the line. They are clearly in front.
And the Raiders work really hard on getting up and playing the ball quickly. As a result, the Knights struggle to get back behind the referee, but if they don't get back, you're right, Andy, they've got to get penalised.
Jason Smith on the last tackle goes to the air. A kick without the depth he would have liked. Milton Thaiday, magnificent, and in open space. A good grassing tackle It is completed by David Howe. Advantage Knights. Johns down the centre of the field, links up with winger Anthony Quinn. Baderis onto Craig Smith. Now Kurt Gidley. Jumps on the right foot. Heads centre field. Looking for someone. Anyone. He finds Quinn. Good strong tackle. That was Ben Jones. Johns' short side. Here is Gidley. Gain Johns on the blind. Baderis goes himself from dummy half. The Knights were running the angles. Unfortunately for the hooker, they were the wrong angles. They persist with the right-hand side. Brian Carney drops the ball this time. Maybe had a peek for Phil Graham.
Well, it was almost an intercept to Adrian Purtell as well. He was nearly away up the other end of the field. It slipped through Purtell's hands. Carney then almost had the opportunity, as we see there. Purtell, oh, it wasn't Purtell actually, it was David Milne. And Brian Carney almost in, but in the end, denied yet again.
Let's go, Andrew. Out!
Canberra have won 5 of the last 6 encounters between these two sides as Newcastle get another opportunity with the football. It is limited though. The ball has gone forward. Oh, the Raiders can breathe a sigh of relief on the 15-minute mark.
Well, they're trying to go wide and wide early. On this occasion, it was Matty Gidley just losing control of the football, but they're trying to get the ball wide as soon as possible on every occasion. They're putting pressure on themselves, and they're coming up with a few fumbles.
Slow in packing the scrum, the Raiders here.
Let's go, Jay, straight away, please.
Lincoln Withers in the scrum, and this man standing at first receiver, Ben Jones, a ploy used regularly in the modern game with one of the second rowers or the lock standing off the scrum just to try and establish a little bit of go forward on the opening ruck of the set. Thompson plays the ball, albeit slowly. Oh, good hand shown by Big Willie Raston then. Had to reach out and grab the ball. Here's Wolford. Across field he goes. No runners whatsoever. That time to use his options. On the 40-metre line as Wolford barks orders at his outside men. Jason Smith inside the 40. Will it turn right? It doesn't. A good bounce this time for Thido.
Surrender!
Very fast open game of football out there at the moment, and it will take its toll. It's very warm down here in Canberra, and the players at this speed, if the game continues at this speed, I should say, are going to be getting very, very tired as we get closer towards half-time. Then look for the likes of Thido, Zillman, the quicker guys to get in from dummy half and look to capitalise.
You can see plenty of water being run out, especially to the big men like Willie Raston this afternoon. When a team is in attack, there is always 2 trainers on the field. The subject of a water break wasn't spoken about between rival trainers and our match official pre-match, which surprised me because it is incredibly warm. Another opportunity for the Knights, and they now have had more of the football percentage-wise than the Raiders have. Simpson, good run. Good tackle too by Alan Tongue. Here is Johns. Some open space for Gidley. Finds his brother Matthew, and that is a great tackle by David Howe to stop his opposing centre. Back to Matthew Gidley from Kurt. And he is tackled. Brought down. Last tackle. Johns is on the right. That's where they go. Looks for the post. He found it. Trouble and try. Persistence pays off for Andrew Johns. He aimed at the post. He found it. A Canberra mistake. He scored it.
Yeah, Joey, he realises that the goalpost pads down here in Canberra are absolutely massive. He aimed the ball at the post, gave it a little nudge with his ankles so that it would bounce and pop and roll up. Gave him every chance. You can see aims at the big post there, hits the padding, comes back. The Raiders failed to shut down the ball, and he chased through his own kick to come up with the try. But smart play. Uses whatever advantage he could. On that occasion, it was the pad on the post.
It was the big Canberra milk bottle. Canberra milk sponsors of the Raiders. They're big milk bottles protecting the players or protecting the post, whichever way you look at it.
I mean, it should have been locked up. I mean, it wasn't that hard
And Andrew Johns has now passed Michael Cronin to become the highest scorer for the one club and into third place in the all-time scorers list in the NRL, behind Jason Taylor and Darryl Halligan. So another milestone in an established career. One man who would dearly love to be out there is Clinton Schifosky. 3 late injuries in the week of training for the Raiders has forced Matthew Elliott into a lot of change, Junior.
Well, it has, yeah. Clinton Schifosky at training during the week, attempting to catch a high ball, came down on his ankle, rolled the ankle, and as a result, he's no good to take part in this match. Tom Leroy-Lars also injured or tore a muscle at training. He's out as well, so it's...
and that is a shocking mistake. Sorry, Wayne. A forward pass in the in-goal area from the kickoff.
And once again, an example, and we see this so often, players take their, or drop their concentration after having got points and scored a try, drop their concentration, take their focus off the basics, and commit errors. Now this has put the pressure right back on the Knights.
12 points to 0 at the quarter-way mark of the contest. 12 points to 4, should I say. 7 errors in the opening 20 minutes. Here is Troy Thompson.
Surrender!
Easy to spot in the headgear.
And that the completion rates there give you an idea of just the different styles of football. The Raiders completed 5 out of 7 sets, pretty basic. And the Knights, on the other side of the coin, have only completed 6 out of 11.
Here is Raston. Into Johns he goes, also there. Here's the 10, Josh Perry. Slow play the ball, allowing the Newcastle defensive line to get right up and set. Centre field, tackle number 4. David Howell to play the football to Jason Smith. Comes into his own at this area of the field. Tackle on from Carney on Graham was incomplete, allowing David Miller an opportunity with the football. Croker to Smith. A little chip over. Taken by Andrew Johns and denying the Raiders any more points.
It was a perfectly placed little kick. Unfortunately, Lincoln Withers, only 5'8" tall. If he was 6'1", I think he would have come up with the football and a try under the post. It was a well-rehearsed play. Kicked just a little bit too high. Here it is here. You can see Lincoln Withers goes up. If he's a touch taller, out jumps Andrew Johns and comes up with possession.
Game is of a quick pace. Johns onto Craig Smith. The big boys have really got to keep the fluid up. They're going to lose some kilos out there today. Change number 1 from Matthew Elliott. Onto the field comes Terry Martin. Getting a rest is Willie Raston. Raston's numbers good, especially in attack. The 7 hit-ups already, just the 3 tackles. Tackle there from Kirk Gidley, limiting the opportunities, and Gidley around the legs, but the markers weren't square, so it's a penalty.
Standing next to him and took off early.
You can see the look on some of the players' faces, how much this heat is really affecting them. And we can see there the referee, rightly so, penalises Gidley there for not marking up square. And the Canberra Raiders get another piggyback out of trouble.
He appears to have added a little bit of bulk to his frame in the off-season, Kirk Gidley. Canberra once again on the attack, 40 metres out from the try line. 15 is Terry Martin, his first possession of the contest. There is young Ben Jones getting his rest. Thompson again, head down, backside up, charging into the line.
I mean, you've got to give him a rap, Troy Thompson. He was a solid worker last year, but he's gone from strength to strength this year.
Jason Smith, short ball. It was a good ball too to Michael Hodgson. He was unable to get the hands free. Smith, a dummy half, looked blindside. Goes open, a little kick through, and the Knights are offside.
Off your player, you guys are in front. The first one offside, then they've got to train away.
So 2 penalties back-to-back. The second one, no relevance whatsoever for the Raiders.
Well, they need to keep the pressure on here. They need to make sure that under these hot conditions, the Knights have got to receive back-to-back sets on their own line.
I also think the Raiders have got to score more tries and a few more tries than what the Knights do today if they are to win. So I think goal kicking is going to be a major issue. And I don't think Lincoln Withers can match Andrew Johns in that department. As Simon Wolford looks to drive to the line, he can't. Tanner and Reynoldson defending there. Thompson. They're assisting with the centre of the ruck. Tongue. Jason Smith. Cut out ball. Phil Graham. Phil Graham finds the line. A good try to the left centre. It is 2 tries all. 12 plays 8 with a kick to come.
Yeah, well, this came off the back of the penalty. We're offside by the Knights. As we can see here, the ball ricochets and Andrew Johns, or Danny Badeiros, I think it was, in front, comes up with the penalty for the Raiders. Now, they hit a couple up in tight to drag the Knights defenders into the centre of the field. Then they spread the ball wide. Jason Smith, the smart operator, he said, we'll take a couple up into the post, drag the Knights defenders in, spreads it wide, and Phil Graham, he's a try-scoring machine.
And what a test for Lincoln Withers. Missed a relatively easy one for his first shot in the NRL. And has now taken the ball back an awfully long way, some 25 metres. He's just a metre or so in from touch. There is no breeze to speak of here in the national capital. We will follow the flight of the ball. Tell you what, he struck it nicely, just a little left, so there is hope yet. 0-2 on the boot so far, Lincoln Withers, and it is 12-8 as a result.
And once again, here's the play that led up to the try, and Jason Smith, a cut-out ball out to Phil Graham, comes up with the 4-pointer. I'm just thinking, though, maybe Jason Smith was hitting the ball up under the post, hoping that they score under the post, because then they're a chance of kicking the goal, because they're going to struggle if they continue to score out wide, struggle to convert the tries.
Dangerously close to the touchline there. It was fielded by Adrian Purtell, who was met by a 3-man Newcastle Knights tackle. Canberra have lost their last 3 games here at Canberra Stadium. They were all the tail end of 2005. They've never lost 4 in a row at this venue.
Well, you talk about that, Andy, but the Knights haven't got a very good record down here either. They've only won once in their last 12 visits down to the capital.
And I think everyone remembers that match with the Brett Finch indiscretion in about the 79th minute. Here is David Howe. Tackled right on halfway. Wolford down the short side. Good and easy metres. It is the last tackle, so desperation with the football. Hodgson back to Tongue. Someone has got to kick it. They cannot be caught. The ball has gone forward, and that is a horrible ending to the set for Matthew Elliott's men.
Yeah, very un-Canberra-like that finish to that set. Jason Smith normally settles it down, normally gets in there and makes sure the kick goes downfield. So this gives the Knights another opportunity up in the Raiders' end of the field.
Knights showing they're not afraid to back themselves here and showing a tendency for the short side. Andrew Johns is again on this near side, but they give Kurt Gidley the football and ask him to produce. He finds Steve Simpson, who was met in a strong tackle. The 2 Raiders boys, Loma and Crocker, in the tackle, bleeding that he dropped the ball. A hint of a forward pass there. It is ruled play on by Jason Robinson. Badeiros to Johns. Last tackle. Deep is Milne, and he takes it extremely well over the head of Matt Gidley and Brian Carney.
Yeah, fantastic take there by David Milne. Went up in the air. He was challenged by the Newcastle Knights. There were a couple of them coming through. Took it without any problems whatsoever. Now the Raiders coming out of trouble. We know they're just going to go out of dummy half, first receiver. The Knights are looking to jam their line up and tempt them to go around. As you can see there, the line is jammed right up.
Crucial interchange used by Matthew Elliott. Simon Wolford has been given a rest. Todd Carney will go on. He'll move to the halfback role, and Lincoln Withers will move to the hooking pivot role. And Withers already in there now, wearing jersey number 7, filling the role of the hooker. Smith a little chip over, looking for Zillman. Oh, beautiful hands from Milton Thaiday. Beat 2, beat a 3rd in Hodgson and heads downfield. Still going, Milton Thaiday.
10 metres!
He is proving quite a purchase, isn't he?
He is from broken play. He's absolutely dynamic and dangerous. That's why the Raiders need to get their kick chase game in order.
Matthew Gidley being driven dangerously close to the sideline. Offloads to Brian Carney, who does well not to be pushed out. Kurt Gidley. 15 is Daniel Tola.
Surrender 3! Surrender.
11 minutes remain. 12-8 is the scoreline in favour of the attacking Newcastle Knights. Vidaris to Johns. Short ball. Picked up by Carmont. Is it a try?
Yep.
Anthony Quinn is claiming it. We are once again going to go to our video referee, Phil Cooley.
Yeah, I thought there might have been a knock-on in there from the Knights in the lead-up to that try.
It appeared there was about half a dozen knock-ons.
Hey, knock-ons, mate. Just
in the movement, let's have a look. Johns.
Well, the question mark is going to be, the question mark is going to be if George Carmont gets his hand on the football. If he does, it's a no try. If he doesn't, it looks like it could be a 4-pointer. But you can't really tell from that angle.
Great work at the end from Anthony Quinn.
And this one might give us a better idea. Oh, I'm going to have to frame by frame that one. But it was fantastic work by Anthony Quinn. He got the put down was fine. There's no problems there. Phil Cooley's having the same problems as us, going slower with the replay, the frames. Now, the angles there aren't helping come to it. I think it's going to be benefited out to the attacking side, which means we'll see a try.
I'll go with you, Junior, only because I'm confused. Sorry.
To the degree of doubt?
Well beyond. And it is a try. Benefit of the doubt shown on the scoreboard. They couldn't prove that George Carmont did get a hand onto the football.
And it was fortunate because Joey Johns was looking for the short ball to Milton Thaiday. Thaiday was taken out of play on suspicion, as we can see here. So it could have been a penalty, taken out of play on suspicion. But play goes on. A try there, and great finishing by Anthony Quinn. Let's not overlook how much of a contortionist, I suppose we could say, Anthony Quinn was to get around the corner post and put that ball down one-handed.
Right on the touchline. Plenty of Newcastle fans down here too. A chorus of boos from the Canberra faithful as Andrew Johns steps into it. Starts it out wide, it is not coming back. It had the legs. Scoreline remains. Newcastle 16, Canberra 8, 9.5 minutes remaining in the first half. And it is the type of game, due to the heat and the fast pace, that could really develop into a drop-a-thon late. The play could slow considerably.
Alternatively, I think it could really open up the last 20 minutes of this game as the players really tired. There's going to be plenty of gaps out there. Andrew Johns and Jason Smith in particular, two playmakers, conserving their energy, looking to just move the opposition around the paddock, but they're the key men on either side. They're the guys that are controlling virtually everything in attack for their respective sides.
Daniel Tola takes the ball into the defensive line. Here is Brian Carney. Pushes off one, wrestled to the ground by the captain, Croker. Carney just spending a year in Newcastle, of course, one of the marquee signings for John Cartwright's Gold Coast Titans when they hit the NRL in 2007. Andrew Johns, short ball and a good ball there to Lowry. Inside he goes, off to Kurt Gidley, and the Newcastle Knights are in for try number 4. The Raiders are starting to open up here. 20 points to 8.
Yeah, that's the first real signs of fatigue we're seeing from the Raiders in defence there. They didn't cover on the inside. They were slack, drifting across. Jason Croker came across, but his inside defender didn't cover him. And Kurt Gidley, well, very quick in the open field, goes over and scores a try in the end. But it was the defenders on the inside. Jason Croker takes his man, but the inside defender on Croker didn't cover up. And as a result, the Knights, I should say, from broken field play, head upfield, all their additional support players just head straight upfield, expecting the pass, and on that occasion it came back to Kurt Gidley, scores adjacent to the uprights.
Hasn't lost any of his pace. I said just a couple of minutes ago, it appears Kurt Gidley has added a couple of kilograms to his frame during the off-season. Still showed good pace to get to the line as John steps in. Flags go up, scoreboard ticks over, and with 7 minutes or there just over remaining in the opening half, it is 22 points to 8 as a disappointed and dejected Simon Woolford looks on.
It was pretty simple in the end. Great work there by Todd Lowry to create the opportunity, to create the break, and Kurt Gidley finishes it off. But it signs there that the Raiders forwards touch fatigued, not covering on the inside, and that's where you're going to be very vulnerable against the Knights. Andrew Johns and Kurt Gidley in particular love those inside balls, so you've got to continue to work as an inside defender.
Surrender!
Despite this, the completion rates are still very much in favour of the Canberra Raiders. They have had less of the football, but their completion rate is better at 11 of 13. The Knights currently 10 of 16, looking to control the football a little better late in this first half as Adam Woolno takes it to ground 5 metres short of halfway. They are centre field as Baderis finds Johns. He dummies, can't beat Smith, gets the ball back on the inside. Good second phase football from Joey that time.
Well, he's smart. He knows that the Raiders are getting tired. He hasn't done too much running in this game so far. Now he's going to inject himself in this 6 minutes up till half-time.
Steps and goes back the short side. He just has that ability to make the defenders stand off. That's exactly what they're doing. Gidley, Grubbers ahead. Johns is there, but he is beaten to the ball by Todd Lowry. That is 3 tries in 4 or 5 minutes. We are going to check the onside positioning of Todd Lowry from the kick. Otherwise, we do have a try.
Yeah, the only question mark is the onside. It was tremendous work. Kurt Gidley, left foot, kicks it back infield. He sees, and as we can see there, Todd Lowry almost in line with him, and we can see where the football is relative to the white line. I don't think there's really any problem whatsoever. And Todd Lowry, who set up the previous try after receiving the inside ball off Andrew Johns, comes up with a try for himself. So
this will be a try. No doubt whatsoever in the mind of video ref Phil Cooley, nor should have there been. And the Raiders supporters have gone quiet. The Knights fans in the house are enjoying this is how it happened.
Yeah, smart player, Kurt Gidley. We talk about Andrew Johns, and he's the #1 player in the game, #1 playmaker in the game, but he's got a guy in Kurt Gidley outside of him that can take the pressure off him at any stage during the game, because Gidley's skills are enormous, his vision's enormous, and his kicking game is outstanding.
Kicking at 75% for the day. That stat moves up to 80% to the day, 4 from 5. And a 20-point lead in the blink of an eye. It is the Knights 28, the Raiders 8. Tries in the 32nd and 35th minutes for the Newcastle Knights.
Well, the thing to note here is that whenever a football is kicked back on the inside or passed on the inside, you've got Knights players there, because whenever Andrew Johns or Kurt Gidley go forward with the football, the guys on the opposite side of the ruck also go forward, because they know there's every opportunity. Oh, no. Penalty from the kickoff.
We are going all the way back to halfway. The restart from Zillman, just too big.
Wait for the touches.
Well, the wheels have well and truly fallen off in this 10 minutes before half-time, and great work there by Kurt Gidley. Realised that the ball was far too long and didn't take any chances whatsoever. The Raiders have got to dig deep. A few minutes to go to half-time. They're very tired, but they've got to dig deep. They can't afford to let the Knights come up with any more points if they're going to get themselves back into this game.
Johns has directed them around the park beautifully today, and another penalty to the Newcastle Knights. Centre field, and you've got to say they'll back their ability. They do just that. Johns with the football. Inside man is Lowry. Strong tackle that time from Terry Martin. Gidley. It's the ball on to Adam Woolno. Options both sides of the ruck. This just the second tackle. They go to their captain, Johns. Short ball. This is Simpson on the left-hand side. Normally a right-hand side player. Baderis. Knock on. Johns dummies and scores. That is a double for Joey Johns today. Isn't he happy? 32 points to 8. This could be anything.
Yeah, the Raiders really just running without any legs at the moment. The Knights have controlled the football for the last 10-15 minutes. The Raiders have done all the tackling. Joey's on the spot, scores the try on that occasion, one of the easier tries that he scored in his career, but it's the result of the Raiders being absolutely fatigued. The Knights look fresh as a daisy. They've got a spring in their step. Joey's got a spring in his step because he paced himself early on in the half. The last 15 minutes, the Raiders been really tired, decided to do some running.
Flags go up again. Said earlier, Andrew Johns earlier this afternoon moved into 3rd place on the all-time point scoring list behind Jason Taylor and Darryl Halligan. He passed Michael Cronin. The way the Knights are going today, anything's possible. Yeah,
I mean, you talk about Andrew Johns and what he's capable of doing, and you think, well, you're going over the top. The fact is, you're not going over the top. You're seeing one of the best all-time playmakers that rugby league has had the privilege of watching, and he might be in the twilight of his career, 32 years of age, playing in hot conditions down here, but he's showing how you can control a game by playing smart.
Carney is driven backwards. A little bit of sting in the Raiders' defence. They certainly need it. You get the feeling it's fatigue playing a part in these conditions, and the fact Newcastle have had the majority of positive football. 59% of the pill has been in the hands of the visitors, just 41%. That figure, in fact, dropping to 40% in the hands of the Raiders. So they've been starved of possession, and in these conditions, you are not going to win footy matches like that. Johns inside the 40. Should be an easy mark here for Milne. It is. Beats the first line, is tackled by Simpson. Also there, the 15, Daniel Tola.
And you can see the Raiders there, all walking back. I mean, it's taken them 3 rucks before the forwards are back there ready to cut the football up. That's just a sign that they are running on very heavy legs at the moment. They can't wait till the halftime break comes. And making mistakes, that's once again fatigue.
0. Movement!
Just over half a minute remaining. And you could almost back the Newcastle Knights in from this point if Johns gets himself involved, as Gidley sticks out the big left hand, can't get past Phil Graham. Also there was Lincoln Withers and Jason Croker. Kirk Gidley links up with Steve Simpson, tackled on the 10-metre line. Now under 20 seconds. 34 points to 8 is the scoreline. Andrew Johns, long ball, and it is intercepted by Adrian Purtell. So the Knights denied by the rookie winger late in the half. And Matthew Elliott and the Green Machine will be very thankful to hear the siren in the background. There it goes. The Raiders were first to score. What a disappointing end to the half. 4 tries in quick time. The Knights lead after 40 minutes, 34 points to 8. Welcome back to Canberra Stadium for this second half action between the Raiders and the Knights. And after 40 minutes, Newcastle in total control. It is 34 points to 8. 6 tries to 2. Andrew Johns has been good with the boot. 5 from 6 so far for Joey. And a dominating performance from this visiting outfit. Though the second half hasn't started well, a drop ball in the ruck on just the second tackle. And a face of disappointment there on Riley Brown.
Yeah, eager to get up and play the football quick on that occasion. And the Knights will be looking to continue what they did in the first half, move the football around, look to work the inside ball, particularly as the game goes on and the Raiders' defence gets a little bit more tired.
The hint of a shepherd there. Jason Robinson allows play to continue. This is Jason Croker, the standing captain in the absence of Clinton Schifosky, who rolled an ankle at training during the week. The Raiders rarely have been in the position they are at the moment on the field. Most of their work with the football has been coming out from their own territory. One of their best again is Troy Thompson. He thoroughly deserves that. He was outstanding last week. again this week he has been Canberra's best. And a strong front rower's try to big Troy Thompson.
Yeah, real shot in the arm there for the Canberra Raiders. Troy Thompson, inspirational last week. His work rate's phenomenal. On this occasion, he gives the big don't argue there to Adam Woolnough, creates the gap and goes over adjacent to the uprights, but there wasn't much doing. Troy Thompson says, give it here, out the way, Woolnough, and just steams over right next to the uprights. There was just nothing in that. It was just guts and determination, and he's a man mountain, a big fella, very mobile, very hard to stop.
You look at the first 2 rounds, he is certainly one of the big improvers in the off-season. Here's Troy Thompson, his first 4-pointer of the year. Our goal kicker now is Todd Carney. He gets the easy one from right in front. And they bridge the gap by a converted try in the opening couple of minutes of the second half. Still 20 points the difference. Newcastle 34, Canberra 14.
And there he is, Troy Thompson, the try scorer. He made his debut back in 2001, so he's been around playing with the Raiders for a number of years now, but he seems to have gone to another level this year. A lot more self-confidence, and he's assuming the responsibility of the go-forward man, the #1 go-forward man. Here he is again in the Raiders lineup.
Move!
Tackle this time complete by Woolnough in jersey 14. The inside runner is Andrew Lomu. Nowhere to go. Danny Baderis makes sure of that, along with Steve Simpson. Todd Carney, ball out in front. No second guessing defensively there from Kirk Gidley. He took the man. The free is Phil Graham. Scored a try earlier on. Set up the other. Tackle number 4, and not a lot of metres made by the Canberra Raiders. They still look tired. Last tackle, just 22 metres gained. Jason Smith puts it downfield and right into the arms of Milton Thaiday, who brings it back, crosses the 40-metre line before linking up with Brian Carney, who centres the attack. Johns onto Anthony Quinn. Good involvement from the Newcastle wingers, taking the early hit-ups away from their big men to give them the opportunity to get a few deep breaths into them.
That break couldn't have come at a better time for the Raiders, because the Knights were really on a roll. At the moment, they've gone down a couple of gears. The Knights, they're just gone back to basics, looking to get the go forward happening. And that Cavalier, the flare, has really sort of gone out of the side just at the moment.
Here is Johns. To the air he goes. A test for David Milne. In fact, the kick too big from Andrew Johns, a rare mistake. And the Knights' defensive line will form on the 30-metre line.
And quite often you see a team that's on a real roll go off for the halftime break, and their mind is disengaged. They don't really, or they find it difficult to switch back into gear and pick up where they left off, and that's what the Knights are struggling with at the moment. The Raiders, a little bit more confidence, getting a little bit more possession and coming up with that early try.
They were starved of possession in the opening 40 minutes. Their rate was down to about 40%, 60 in favour of the Knights. You're just not going to win football matches with that type of percentage, Junior.
No, that's exactly right. They had plenty of ball early on, but leading up to half-time, in the 10-15 minutes before half-time, they had virtually no football. They were tired, they were doing lots of defence, and the Knights made them pay. They put on 3 or 4 tries in that period of time.
2, movement, 10 metres!
After just 5.5 minutes of the second half, Jason Smith has been replaced by Simon Woolford, forcing a change round. So Woolford will move into the hooking role. You would think that Todd Carney would move out to 5'8", and Lincoln Withers to half-back. We'll keep an eye on the positional changes that Matthew Elliott has made with Jason Smith off the field as the Knights get up over the 40-metre line. This is the last tackle, a modest gain of 39 metres. Johns finding open space with the boot. A good kick and a good bounce that time for Milne.
And very important here that Todd Carney does step up. That man there, Jason Smith, off the field, the heat, the hot conditions. At his age, 34 years of age, he turned 34 during the week, really taking its toll. So Todd Carney has to get in there, control play, and move these guys around the paddock.
Penalty to the Raiders.
Kurt.
In fact, you mentioned Jason Smith turning 34 during the week. He is the second oldest player in the NRL. The oldest is out there, Craig Smith, the Newcastle front row forward who turns 35 in October. In fact, 3 of the oldest 4 are out there. Here is the other one, Jason Croker. 3 men trying to prove age is no barrier in this game. Here's Thompson again. Always threatening with the football. Will know Baderis making the tackle as Wolford goes across field. Links up with Lomu. The meters for both sides down the middle of the ruck are becoming increasingly easier as Wolford finds support in the form of Phil Graham. And that is 2 Canberra tries in the opening 7 minutes of the second half. And maybe, just maybe, they're starting to get confident about what they can do with the football.
That was a well-rehearsed play on that occasion because Phil Graham from the left-hand side of the field drifted across, came in as the second man. Lack of communication there from the Newcastle Knights, but Phil Graham drifted across from left centre, came across, ran a great line in behind the number 17. There it was, Todd Lowry. Couldn't read the play, didn't see Phil Graham coming. As a result, Graham goes through without a hand being placed on him. And what a great boost that is for the Raiders, because to come up with 1 try first couple of minutes after half-time gives you confidence, a bit of a lift, but they have really gone on with the job since then. And still a long way from catching the Knights, but there's a sense of self-belief, and the confidence levels are much higher than they were towards the end of that first half.
Todd Lowry, one of many nights with that look of disappointment on the face behind the line. As Toddy Carney adds the extras. Carney established himself in the top 17 after an indifferent 2005. As the faithful now start to spur on their heroes.
And with Todd Carney out on the field, they've got to recognise goal kicker as well. Lincoln Withers virtually done no kicking in his career. Todd Carney has done a fair bit of kicking in the lower grades and the juniors, so it won't be as important for them to score underneath the uprights, although it certainly helps.
Withers takes the football. No surprise to see who was there off his left hip. It is Troy Thompson. Daniel Tolar, the tackler there. That's Terry Martin with the footy.
Lean off, Danny.
Carney to Croker. And Carney taking a little bit more control of the ruck, which is exactly what the Raiders needed. Some direction and some fluency in their attack. Inside man is Andrew Lomu. Tackle number 4. Carney looking for a 40-20. Well inside, doesn't get the bounce. Here come the Raiders downfield, looking to smash Thaiday. Tongue, he is there, so too is Lincoln Withers.
Yeah, that's a tremendous kick and a great chase as well. Still 6 or 7 of the Knights players not back onside yet, so it just shows you that back-to-back sets, they've had 3 back-to-back sets, the Raiders, and it just shows you how hot it is out there, how difficult it is for the forwards in particular to get back and recover from these long kicks.
Ryan Carney beats Alan Tongue twice, not the 3rd time. He is ridden to the ground, most bull riding fashion. Johns over the top ball to Matthew Gidley, whose winger had come on the inside. Gidley didn't need the winger. A good ball from him to Craig Smith. Smith still going.
Get up,
the old man of rugby league doing his thing. Johns. His kick goes centre field, and that is very well read from Simon Wolford. Takes it on the full before being wrapped up by Kurt Gidley and slowing it right down as the former club captain.
Yeah, it was good work by Andrew Johns. He realised that the fullback, William Zillman, had made the tackle, was out of position. There was no one at the back, but Simon Wolford also realised there was no fullback back there, dropped back and saved what could have easily been a try there for the Knights.
In these conditions, the interchange and rotation of the big men is going to be crucial in this final 29 minutes. Willie Raston. Tackle number 5. Gain of 38 metres. is where you're heavily reliant on the kicking game and a good long kicking game, and that is a good kick from Todd Carney, taken by Brian Carney, no relation. Again, it's Alan Tongue there on the Englishman. Carmont, inside link there with his wing three-quarter partner, Anthony Quinn. Now here's Carmont. 3 tackles, no forwards as yet. The three-quarter line helping out in this respect. 10 is Josh Perry. Steve Simpson getting a rest from Michael Hagan. Look, Danny Badeiras not quite ready for the quick play of the ball. Kirk Gidley with a left footer over the top. It has been knocked on by the Raiders. It is play on for the Knights. Just how quickly can Canberra scramble? How effective can their line be?
There's great work there by Kirk Gidley. Zillman tried to take the football on the fly. He was away if he held it, but unfortunately, 6 again to the Knights.
Badeiras onto the lock forward, and Regan Tanner will score for the Newcastle Knights. Already 3 tries in this second half. The first 2 to the Raiders, and the Knights head back.
It all started off the kick from Kirk Gidley. He found open space. In fact, he had all the time in the world to position that kick. Found open space. Then from the breakdown in play, Gidley gets himself involved yet again. Promotes the second phase. And look, the Raiders are all gathered in around the post. There's no one out on this near side of the field. They had the 2-man overlap, the Knights, and they come up with the try. They're all condensed in, shut in around the ruck there. And Danny Badeiras keeps the football alive. And it's what ended up being a pretty simple try out wide. And once again, off the back of broken field play and off the back of an error from the Canberra Raiders.
Joey 5 from 6 so far this afternoon. It's now 6 from 7. It is 40 points to 20 with 26.5 minutes remaining. Danny Badeiras getting a rare rest. So a couple of heavy hitters in the back row there. Also DeVico up front. And a massive mistake from the Canberra Raiders. It's the second time already this afternoon that the kickoff has been belted too far.
Yeah, and there's no breeze either, so it just shows you how powerful the kicking game is. And Matty Elliott there, he'd be very disappointed with the way that the Raiders capitulated in the back end of that first half. Obviously delighted with the way that they started the second half, but they've just got to make sure that they control the inside defence. Their inside defenders have really got to work, even though they're getting tired in these hot conditions. If the inside defenders don't work, Andrew Johns and Kirk Gidley will make them pay.
It is once again the Knights on the attack. Reynoldson used as the dummy. Carmont on the short side. Good play also there from Todd Lowry. Goes to Andrew Johns, inside to Josh Perry, who's trying to muscle his way to the line. He's denied. Good metres again from the young front rower, Johns. Long ball to Kirk Gidley. On to Milton Friday, into the Shepherd. The Knights are allowed to play on. Gidley. Back to Johns with a grubber through, taken by Woolford. He gets to his feet. Andrew Johns is there to affect the tackle as well.
Well, it's the second time Simon Woolford's saved potential try with that slips catch. And they get, once again, another piggyback out of trouble. There he is, Simon Woolford. Disappointed with the way that the Raiders have been defending. They're mainly off the back of back-to-back sets. The Knights, when they've had back-to-back sets, they've made the Raiders pay almost on every occasion.
The Raiders in their pre-game warm-up were extremely crisp. Everything they did had an urgency to it. The Knights, on the other hand, were methodical, almost to the point of being lethargic. Obviously, they've conserved their energy. They certainly look the fresher of the 2 outfits. Woolford. Jason Smith back on the field. 40 points to 20. Plenty of points here at the Canberra Stadium. And heaps of time remaining as Wolford goes down the centre. Links up with Thompson, who fumbles the ball, trying to get his hands free. Craig Smith picks it up and runs in, over, and is ultimately stopped by Ben Jones.
I mean, Troy Thompson came up with an error then, but what about his work rate in these hot conditions? He's a big man, he's wearing headgear. He's the only Canberra player to have get into double figures with the hit-ups. He's come up with 14 hit-ups and 17 tackles, and he looks as fresh as days. He probably looks fresher than any of the other Canberra before he's involved again.
Ball on the ground and back to Kirk Reynolds, and he had the right arm free and got a glimpse of Anthony Quinn on his outside. Johns, good sleight of hand onto Anthony Quinn. There is plenty of Newcastle support. Kick ahead. There they are, and Kirk Gidley is the try scorer. Try number 8 for the Newcastle Knights. And the red and blue flags once again fly high.
And this is another example of how a break is made down one of the flanks out wide. The guys in the middle of the field just head straight upfield because they know either a pass is coming back infield or a kick's coming back infield. On this occasion, it was a kick back on the infield. There it is. Short side. Joey Johns sets it up again. Great work, Anthony Quinn. Left footer, back infield. The inside support players know, well, there's something on. We'll just keep heading upfield. And Kirk Gidley comes up with the try on that occasion.
There were 3 Knights there ready to claim the points too.
Yeah, they know that if anything's possible in this team, so they believe in each other. They head straight upfield. And there he is. Kirk Gidley comes up with the points. But guess who started it? Andrew Johns.
That's a double for Kirk Gidley this afternoon. Andrew Johns' personal tally is starting to get up there too. There's 8 goals.
The scary thing about this scoreline is that I really think the game is going to open up a lot more in the last probably 15, 20 minutes. It's coming up shortly because the players starting to get very, very tired. And that's an ominous sign, particularly for the Raiders. Pretty handy win percentage there as a coach too, 53%. Given the fact that last year was a horror year for the Knights, would have dragged that percentage down somewhat. And ironic also that both coaches who are out there coaching today have already agreed to terms with other clubs, so they're coaching their clubs, their respective clubs for the last time this season.
And who is coming to the Raiders? That is the great unknown as we have a look at Matthew Elliott and David Ferner there, grimacing as the whistle was again blown by referee Jason Robinson in favour of the Newcastle Knights.
Well, there's Matty Elliott. We all know he's off to the Penrith Panthers.
Plenty has been said about the coaching merry-go-round and circus that has been the 05-06 off-season, but the one guarantee I think from all coaches is they're not thinking about 2007 until 2007. And all 4 of them, John Lang, Michael Hagan, Brian Smith and Matthew Elliott, will give absolutely everything to their current squad of players looking for premiership success this year. Johns at dummy half as Gidley wraps around the ruck. He goes to the left, and that's where Andrew Johns directs it. Reynoldson has been taken high by David Howe. Not on report. Jason Robinson just signalled and asked young David to get him down.
Yeah, he came in a touch high on that occasion, so entitled to be penalised.
David Howe and winger Adrian Purtell, both in the last fortnight, have re-signed with the Canberra Raiders for a further few years. Johns, Thaiday, great ball to Matthew Gidley, who gets into the scoring again. Plenty of points here at the Canberra Stadium. Plenty of smiles for the Newcastle Knights.
Just too many bodies in motion there for the Raiders, and they failed to read the numbers correctly. You can see here the Knights have got 3 or 4 players there involved in that particular play, and great work by Milton Thaiday.
Yes, it was.
To throw the flat ball, not a renowned ball player, but comes up with a beautiful ball to Matt Gidley, who comes inside on a great line inside the defender to score the try. And once again, the Knights defenders, or Knights attackers I should say, Knights players believing in each other, all up flat looking for the ball, and Gidley comes up with the football, comes up with the try.
7 from 8. 21 metres back, 8 metres in from touch. And he slotted it again. 24 points, a personal haul for Andrew Johns. 52-20, and we are just past three-quarter time. If the Raiders aren't careful, this could really blow out.
Well, they need to get their hands on the football. They need to get the football down the other end of the field, or it is really going to be a massive scoreline. The Knights are in awesome form at the moment.
And the Raiders have retained possession from the kickoff. Here is Willie Raston. Tuck the ball under, put the head down and go forward, son. They would have been the requests and suggestions from his teammates there, as Troy Thompson does just that. Tackled centre field on the second. 15 metres out from the line. Wolford to Tongue. Again, run out stuff from the Raiders. An easy mark for the defenders. Here is Raston. Looking for his first try as an NRL footballer. Tongue used as the decoy. Smith, long ball and a good ball over the top to Graham. Back to Carney. On further to Ben Jones. He is tackled 4 metres out. Last tackle, a gain of 38. Jason Smith over the top. Great hands, Milton Thaiday. Oh, that was spectacular.
Having a tremendous game, Milton Thaiday. He's diffused a number of kicks through and looked dangerous on the kick reception as well. On that occasion, the defensive line was set, fortunately, because he was on his way back upfield.
Carney tackled with the ball centre field. It is Craig Smith again. 10 hit-ups, 21 tackles. Second only defensively to Steve Simpson, who with a break has already got 28 recorded on the statistician sheet. Kirk Gidley. Here is the man we speak of, Simpson. 16 is Riley Brown. Johns with an awkward-looking kick off the boot. Zillman makes a meal of it at the back. It has gone backwards, according to Jason Robinson Jr. Is that the way you saw it?
Yeah, I thought it just went slightly backwards, but it was an awkward-looking kick from Andrew Johns. It looked like it was doing nothing, but it was actually one of those spiral bombs, and very, very difficult for the receivers to take those types of kicks.
Uh-oh. No instructions, no warning from Jason Robinson. Newcastle players know exactly what went wrong here.
Yeah, slipped up a touch there from Matt Gidley.
Riley Brown also at fault there.
Wait here, Knights, wait.
Careless, not intentional. Carney to Raston. He deserves that, Troy Thompson. Cold towel on the back of the head. He has worked for his paycheck this afternoon. Here's the second game rookie Ben Jones. 6 metres out from the Newcastle line. Alan Tongue, Jason Smith trying to orchestrate something. Inside ball, and William Zillman on debut claims number 2. We saw Marshall Chalk a couple of years ago on debut grab a bunch of tries here at Canberra Stadium, and Zillman already too.
Tremendous play here, back on the inside to Zillman, but Todd Carney was the playmaker on this occasion. Quick hands back on the inside. It obviously organised for Zillman to be in position, and bang, too much footwork, or too quick and too good a footwork there for Georgie Carmont, who was wrong-footed, but put it down to the young fellas, Zillman and Carney, the combination that they've worked together.
William Zillman and Glenn Buttress were outstanding in Premier League last weekend against the Manly Sea Eagles. And Zillman, with the injury to Clinton Schifosky, has had his debut fast track this afternoon. One of the real positives for the Raiders today, they've been disappointing on the field, has been their lovely cheer girls. We have a look at the inside man, Zillman, just putting the footwork on Carmont to cross the line.
There's some excitement machines coming through. Shades of the Benji Marshall step and acceleration. And the new breed of footballers. But then again, there's still the old breed, Andrew Johns, Jason Smith, those guys around who play so much with their brains and think 1 or 2 steps ahead of a lot of other footballers out there on the field.
Purtell was the first man to take the ball up. The second is Jason Croker, driven backwards by Steve Simpson. Wolford out of dummy half. On to Jason Smith. And another solid tackle from Steve Simpson. This time it's on Alan Tongue, who today is playing his 99th first grade game. We certainly hope game 100 next weekend, should he be in the top grade, is one of better memories. Oh, Jason Smith with a rare and uncharacteristic mistake. It is very hot out there. The Raiders are on the end of a nasty scoreline, and they would be quite happy, I think, to call stumps about now with 11.5 to go.
Yeah, I mean, of the two teams, the Knights have got far better attack, a lot more penetrating in attack. You give them possession down this end of the field, they're going to make you pay.
Friday gets it on to Regan Tanner on the short side of the field. Showing a lot of variation in their attack so far this afternoon, the Newcastle Knights.
And he's been great in these conditions as well, Craig Smith. We've said he's the oldest player in the competition, but he hasn't shirked his workload. He's been the top hit up forward for the Knights, and his work rate in defence has been outstanding as the Knights go over for another try.
Another Andrew Johns setup, and they are making it look easy. Riley Brown is the try scorer here. They got a charter flight down yesterday, the Newcastle Knights, but they say there's a few of the boys that will quite happily buy Joey a beer this evening for services rendered to their professional resume.
Yeah, that was just too easy. The Raiders that tired, they're not getting off their line, getting up in the faces of the Newcastle Knights, and as a result, the Knights have got plenty of time to wind up, and when you get big fellas like Riley Brown winding up that close to your line, they're going to carry you over, and that was exactly the case then.
Johns again with the extras, 58 points to 26, 10 minutes remaining here at Canberra Stadium. It is a smash-up. New year, new Knights. Newcastle, that's my team, and some solid support for the Novocastrians down here in the national capital. So have a look at Joey's stats for the day. 10 tackles, most of them quality. He is an outstanding defender. 4 runs, the 1 offload.
Yeah, he's been conserving himself in these hot conditions, and you've got to give credit to Kurt Gidley the way he has injected himself into the attack and taken some of the workload off Andrew Johns because it is so hot out there.
Kurt, just a couple of minutes ago, was given a rest by Michael Hagan. Unusual. Normally, Kurt is a guaranteed 80 minutes footballer. So they've just swapped around the dynamics of their side a little bit without the 5'8" there. They are well in control of the contest at 58-26.
Out.
Long ball from Johns and spot onto the chest.
Surrender.
Of the recipient there again, it's Daniel Tolar. Short side, Craig Smith, no surprise there. Hit up number 12, 24 tackles. Busy day for the 34.5-year-old. Josh Perry. They keep the ball going. Bodies in motion, keeping the Canberra defensive line guessing. Johns to Simpson on the inside. Steamrolls one, steamrolls another. The 60 points is up, and there's still plenty of time left.
Just see whether Jason Croker was taken out back there or whether it was just an accidental thing, please.
Well, the referee, Jason Robinson, just looking if there's an obstruction there. I don't think there's any problem whatsoever. Another example of the inside defenders getting a little bit tired in these hot conditions. And Joey, well, he catches you short if you are a metre slow on the inside. I can't see any problems with that at all. And Steve Simpson, with a full head of steam, I should say, very difficult to stop that close to the try line. This will be a try.
Our video ref is Phil Cooley. Had a couple of decisions this afternoon, most of them easy, like that one. 11 tries to 5. It's a smash up.
Well, you have a look here. He beats the tackle there on the inside of Willie Raston straight up. But the inside defenders generally aren't coming across quick enough. There he is, Willie Raston, a little bit too slow, close to the line. You're not going to stop that man.
And the conversion was successful from Andrew Johns. And for the first time in their club history, Newcastle have moved past the 60-point mark. The last highest NRL score was over Souths in 1999, 60-0. Today is a day to remember as the try scorer takes the ball from the kickoff, Steve Simpson. 7 minutes remaining. You would have to think, Junior, the rate they're going, there's still at least another try in them.
Yeah, the way they're playing and the way the Raiders are defending, they're looking very tired, very sloppy. 1 and 2 passes wide of the ruck, and that's where Andrew Johns is going to go.
Near side of the field through Adam Woolnough. What a way to start round 3 next weekend, Friday night football, as the Newcastle Knights and the Bulldogs at Energy Australia Stadium. Both sides will go into it following convincing round 2 wins. It should be a cracker to get week 3 underway. Next week, the Raiders are on the road and they travel to Sydney to take on the Roosters at Aussie Stadium. Alan Tongue looks to put the footwork on. Almost a penalty from Jason Robinson there for a 10-metre infringement from the Newcastle Knights. Playing in their alternate strip today from a distance, it almost looks like, dare I say it, the North Sydney Bears reincarnated. And a knock-on from the Raiders. Anthony Quinn makes his way out of the in-goal. Jason Robinson has pulled back play.
First knock-on there. 6 more. Raiders feet.
There you go. Newcastle with the first knock-on there, followed by a Raiders knock-on.
Well, I couldn't see the knock. Couldn't see the knock-on there. I couldn't see the knock-on there, so I think
yes, he's
the Raiders are very fortunate.
Yes, he's touched the ball there, Carmont, but the ball has gone backwards. It has slowed down, but it has still gone backwards. Never mind, it is play on. It's not going to affect the result here. No. That ball's gone back too.
It's got to go forward for a knock-on. Hold.
Centre field. This is the 11, Ben Jones. It'll be a long week. The Raiders headquarters this week. Disappointing performance. Alan Tongue deserves a try. And he gets it with just 5 minutes remaining. We'll come back to giving the Raiders a rap for the try. Just looking at the Newcastle Knights and their mindset, there was a couple of players that didn't put their hands on their knees in exhaustion. They put their hands on their heads, saying, look at Matt Gidley there in the corner of the picture, saying, how did we let that through? They are up by 1 million, and yet they're still filthy that tries are getting through. It shows a great mindset and a positive belief.
Well, Danny Baderis was the one that was screaming. He was throwing his arms around, screaming as if to say, that's not acceptable, fellas. It was too easy. So you're right, Andy. They've certainly got a high standard that they want to finish this game on a real positive note.
There's the new Canberra mascot. Strange looking fella, looks like he's been on the gear for the last off-season or two. He's got some shoulders on him.
Been in a bad car crash. Have a look at his head there. Dear oh dear.
2 out of 10 for design. Just under 4 minutes remaining. It's been a long afternoon and a hot afternoon for the Canberra Raiders. Withers on to Jason Croker, who has had plenty of big wins and some awful losses in a 295-game career. Jason Croker, this would be one of the worst days. A good in and away from Phil Graham on Carney. He kicks ahead. Now it's a race. Carney on Carney. Todd and Brian, and the ball beats both. Yeah, the young Canberra Raider, number 14, showed plenty there, didn't he?
Plenty of speed, and Phil Graham also showed plenty of speed to get on the outside of Brian Carney. You can have a look here. He showed enormous speed to run away from Brian Carney on that occasion. Left foot kick was just too heavy, too much weight in that kick. It's a real skill at full speed to try and kick the ball and weight it correctly, but there was Todd Carney, who almost came up with a try.
And a great ball to Anthony Quinn there from George Carmont. Quinn comes centre field. The Canberra Raiders out on their feet at the moment. 64 points to 32. Huge scoreline, 96 points in the game so far. Are we going to see the three figures? That was a little high from Phil Graham. A warning on the run. Gidley with a no-look at Brian Carney. A little bit of open space. He beats Phil Graham. Back to Matthew Gidley. Long ball to Joey Johns. He puts boot to ball, looking for the right bounce. He gets it. Here come the Knights. It is another Newcastle try, this time to George Carmont. Over 100 points in under 80 minutes of football in extreme conditions in the national capital.
And once again, Andrew Johns had all the time in the world. He's an absolute freak. He saw there was nothing doing out wide, and this is the initial break. Milton Thaiday tackled high, gets up, plays on, and the Knights keep the football alive. Carney there up the sideline, and from the break in play, promoted back in. Andrew Johns has a peep, sees there's no one behind. Now have a look at this, the ball. He puts the reverse bounce on the ball, comes back into the arms of George Carmont, and they score the try. But the ball dropped on the sixpence exactly where he wanted it, and he had the reverse spin on it as well, so that it didn't go dead in goal. George Carmont comes up with the try, and that is class. That is absolute class.
Flags go up again, and the poor touchies. The arms have been going. Yeah, the arms have been going up all afternoon. That is 11 from 12 for Andrew Johns. 30 points in total for Joey. 2 tries, 11 goals. Most points in a match head-to-head between these two clubs is 34. That was Andrew Johns. Less than a minute to go. 70 points to 32. Is there one more left? Not from the Knights, it appears, as they hand over possession. Jason Croker inside to Alan Tongue. Dummies once to Andrew Lomu, takes the ball to ground. This is Lomu with the football, the former Cronulla Shark. Alan Tongue. And it is back to the Knights. The siren ready to sound. It does. And that ends an incredible game of rugby league. Look at that for a scoreline. Newcastle 70 have smashed Canberra 32. 102 points in a game of footy. It was like touch at times. And the man on screen, Andrew Johns, again, just brilliant.
Yeah, Joey controlled all aspects of the Newcastle attack. On this occasion, he scores a try off his own kick. Then injected himself a little bit later, threw a dummy, twisted and turned, and went over adjacent to the uprights. And his conversions from the sideline in particular were just fantastic.
In total, there was 18 tries. Johns 11 from 12 with the boot, and a hand in a whole lot of the tries, including this late one to George Carmont. A pinpoint kick. What a display from the Newcastle Knights. In fact, 102 points in a game is a record for the NRL. The Raiders 32. 2 to Graham, 2 to Zillman on debut. Thompson and Tongue also. Carney 4 from 4. Take a deep breath for the Knights. There's a few of them. Johns 2, Kurt Gidley 2, Carmont 2. Singles to Quinn, Lowry, Tanner, Matt Gidley, Brown and Simpson. 11 from 12, Joey with the boot. An incredible day of NRL action right here on your Sports Leader. We hope you've enjoyed Newcastle and Canberra, and it's goodbye from the national capital.